These woods are an example of what can be accomplished without man's interference. This forest, away from any town or communal society, is as untouched by man as any mass of green can be. It would be easy to mistake an area like this as a place of solitude and silence. That is not the truth. Here, there is no substantial evidence of civilization, but that does not mean it is without life. Wind and water fill the amphitheater with motion and meaning. Endless chatter of woodland beings permeates within this arborous cathedral. These are not idle conversations. It is an opera, a symphony, a concerto of unification, perfectly executed by design. There is no explanation for how these beings coexist. There is no reason to know why. Within these trees, among these streams, life is. And that is good enough. Nature is not entirely benevolent, and yet this does not take away from its beauty. Animals are hunted and eaten alive, with no knowing of anything outside of this forsaken wood. Human life is very much the same. Every day is lived knowing that any moment could be your last. But it is assumed that now is not that moment. Today is not that day. There is a desire to strive for significance, but in the end, every day ends just the same. These vicious beings live doing what they must do to survive, even if it means the end of another creature's life. Does this make them any different than the small rodent burrowing its home within the confines of a tree to seek shelter from the outside world? Even something as beautiful as a flower can be subjected to draining the essence of other greenery to stand a little bit taller and glow a little bit brighter. There is a cruelty in nature that brings about destruction, and yet this forest still stands. Life carries on, even if it's not the life that came before. At the heart of the forest lies a massive, ever-reaching oak, as large as a hill upon a mountain, standing alone and apart from the rest of the forest, encircled by still water. The trunk of the behemoth is impossibly thick, able to withstand the elements for the centuries it has stood here. The stoic branches do not sway like the other trees within the wind. Night is everlasting beneath the countless branches. No light permeates the endless leaves. There is one thing that this beast of a structure exacts more than any other being on this planet. It endures. It endures the frost of the winter, the storms of the spring, the scorch of the summer, and the collapse of autumn. It endures the loneliness from being different and unyielding. The tree grows taller and stronger with each year, but never closer to the others that surround it. The other trees live, and they will surely die. But this monolith remains to stand the test of time. Streams cut into the wooded area like capillaries, carrying the essence of life from the top of the hills to all the organs of the forest. The streams swiftly scour the mountainside to ensure the continuation of this Eden, ceaselessly palpitating the blood of the earth. Unlike a standard circulatory system, the cycle of this network of vitality does not return to its source. It only travels downward into the endless expanse of the sea, to nevertheless return as droplets in the rain. Following the streams is a sure way to reach the colossal peak, if one were not to worry about the definitiveness of gravity. There is only one way to reach that height so directly, and it requires wings. Without a transport of such convenience, one must move onward into the dense arteries of the mountain, where the sun is no longer your companion, and the loneliness truly sets in. The dark takes over, and there is nowhere else but forward. There is no more going back. Darkness overtakes those who enter this realm of wet and stone. Turning back leads to another kind of blindness that only incepts at the great divide of light and the abyss. It is better to become accustomed to the dark on our journey within. The only way to reach the highest peak is to descend into the deepest parts of ourself, far within the mountain. The life of the outside world does not go where we must dread. There is no reason for creatures without a conscience to join in on this quest of introspection. The light is quickly fading, giving us a sign to carry on. For now, this is the only option, the only one there's ever been. This seemingly vacant corridor within the chasm consists of a series of interconnected tunnels, winding inward and outward. There is no telling where one path stops and another begins. But we must choose regardless. There is a strange familiarity about this darkness, as if you have been here once before. But that is not the case. You have always been here. You have never left this darkness, not for many years. The abyss has become a companion and reminder of the warped life you lead. Not everything is the way it should be, but it still is all the same. The silence of the deep has now been broken. What once was a faint drip has now become a bellowing beat of a heart of stone, distilling the essence of life before sending it throughout the tumultuous cavern. The pounding echoes within your mind until there is nothing left but the sound and the feeling of undeniable existence pushing forth. It has been ages since someone met with the pulsating rock. The visions granted by this enchanting boulder bears witness to your own faults. These jaded memories are not left forgotten and are carved into the walls to stand the test of time. The darkness is shattered at the realization that you are no longer alone. Nature's light sources fill the void like tiny bonfires, providing warmth and safety from the dark. Humming and buzzing, these light-filled guardians illuminate the darkness to reveal that there was another beside you all along. Every step closer brings you one pace further away from this cordial being. But who could it be? In this eternal landscape of dark, only shown through the kindness of the torch-bound insects, with a shape so recognizable and so familiar, there is no mistaking the importance of a being such as this. But you do not know. Not now. A stark beam sits ever so strongly in the distance. Could this be the final terminal before taking off into the sun? The ever-longing vent that exceeds this darkness, that brings light into the memories so willing to fade. No, this is not the end. Not here. There is still more to witness. Fill your mind with luminosity. Steel your soul with what was taken by the abyss. Hold on to your dream and evoke the past. For remembering is all that is left for a being so broken and afraid of what is yet to come.